Welcome back to Star Trek Online, everybody. I'm your host, the Housecoat Gamer, and today we're taking a look at the Constitution 3 class Miracle Worker Cruiser. Oh boy, people are not going to be happy with me when I comment on this thing. Specifically when I get into the lore. The Constitution 3 class, based on the Shangri-La class heavy fast cruiser of the 2280s, was specifically designed as a kind of, to a point, a vanity project. Something to prove that Starfleet could get back to its roots. And in some cases, literally, because this is almost a one-to-one recreation of the Shangri-La class. However, there have been a few alterations. The impulse deck is, well, expanded upon. Instead of 4 impulse engines like the Shangri-La, it has 6. Two of which are mounted in little sections here that did not exist on the original Shangri-La. And of course, the warp nacelles are in a different configuration. And finally, the largest detail, there's no saucer-mounted torpedo launcher. Those have been moved into the neck. Mostly due to the fact that this ship has been nearly doubled in size. Which kind of proves one thing. This ship was designed, once again, to make an attempt to replace the Excelsior class. It's like the B-52 of Starfleet. It just won't go away. Of course, the destruction of Mars would cause a few problems in that regard. Fortunately, there were 2 prototypes of the class made. Though USS Constellation would be mired by continual delays, one such vessel, well, the other one, the sister, took advantage of the near destruction of the USS Titan, NCC 80102. And because Riker had been up to some Kirk-like shenanigans over the course of his career, the ship earned a suffix. And thus came USS Titan NCC 80102A. I will not get into the full details of the Titan's maiden voyage. We've all seen Picard Season 3. Which also brings into the point of the confusion. Why was this thing called a refit when it's really a brand new starship? Well, it was using older components, which could be called a refit, though that's rather generous. Of course, as we all know, after the incident that was Frontier Day, the Titan A would be renamed USS Enterprise, Nova Charlie Charlie 1701 Gamma. This was partially a symbolic message saying, we're finally discarding the fear. The fear of the Dominion, of the Borg, of the unknown. We're getting back to our roots. We're going back to Kirk. Now, I can say that there might be a few problems of getting back to 23rd century standards, but the Enterprise G is continuing her missions. After the 2800 incident and the recommissioning of the Enterprise F, it was generally decided that the G would continue on exploration duties while the F would be putting out brush fires. After all, why waste an Odyssey-class super dreadnought? And the Constitution 3 class is a heavy cruiser, at best. So, again, Why throw this boat into any situation where she really doesn't have to be? And now with that little lore dump out of the way, the Constitution 3 class was partially designed by Bill Krause, who also designed the original Shangri-La class. However, that original model has long since been sold off to somebody, so he had to give reference photos to the people designing the new Enterprise. Lovely. They thought the ship looked cool and decided to Picard it up. Yeah, you get the idea. As for the controversy around the Enterprise G, let's be honest, it's symbolic. Getting back to the roots. After all, 2 Enterprises were Constitution class. A third might, usher in a golden age of exploration, diplomacy, yada yada yada. Of course, the lessons of Wolf 359 have long since been learned. And now that the lore is out of the way, let's get into the stats. She is, of course, a cruiser, a miracle worker cruiser, with a 4-4 layout, with 5 engineering console slots, 2 science, and 4 tactical, and a universal console slot because it's a miracle worker boat. Speaking of universal consoles, the bioelectric wave capacitor increases energy damage by 3.2%, gives you bonus electrical damage, though there aren't too many things I'm aware of that use electrical damage, and yes, this means I have checked the wiki on that, plus 5 bonus subsystem power for weapons. Then there's the bioelectric wave. I have tested this. It is fun. Increases your turn rate, increases your speed, increases subsystem power for buddies. I guess that explains the electrical damage fire. Its starship trait is Thunder Run. Bonuses using beam fire at will, beam overload, and of course, decloaking. Because, that's right, just like the Titan and Enterprise G, this thing has a cloaking device. A battle cloak. Now let's get into the blunt part here and get back into a bit of lore. Because Starfleet does not believe in using cloaking devices, fleet formation it was not thought to incorporate the concept of, continuous subspace communications to, keep up the link. It's line of sight only. And if the transmitter can't see it, I don't know why Starfleet continues to operate under the terms of the Treaty of Algeron. The Romulan Star Empire no longer exists. Why keep up the treaty? Makes no bloody sense. Now for the fun part. Stations. Lieutenant Universal, Lieutenant Commander Tactical, Ensign Tactical, Lieutenant Commander Science Pilot, whee! Spin! And of course, Commander Miracle Worker Engineering. At first, I had no idea what to think of the Titan, the Constitution 3 class. I refused to call it Neo Connie. Whoever thought that was an idea needs to be smacked. But I've grown rather fond of the boat. It is a mix of new and old. And I am especially fond of that. My only problem is this. Where's the Shangri-La? Yes, I know. The skin won't apply to the Connie 3, because the Connie 3 is twice the freaking size. But it has to be said. I'd like the Shangri-La. Maybe as a frigate. Or a reskin for the Constitution class. Let's be honest, there are not enough Connies. More than enough sovereigns, not enough proper Connies. Screw the STD version, and to hell with the Kelvin timeline. Who's with me? Shangri-La Connie. You get the idea. Is it worth getting? Well, there's only one way I was able to get this bloody thing. That's right, this is my event reward from the Event Campaign 6. Which gave me Starship tokens, Lobby, and of course, the Constitution 3. Normally, this is an R&D promo boat. So is it worth the lockbox roulette? Kind of yes, kind of no, mostly because of that Starship trait. So, yeah. Still wishing for a legendary version because, let's be honest, at this point, it's earned it. And I still want a new TOS TMP Connie variant. In this case, the Shangri-La. Which I also hope would include mirror skins because Mirror Connie, long live the Empire. Housecoat Gaming, signing off.